you have, sorry, stop recording, please. Pause. Awesome. All right. Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, please.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐓. I'm a BA and a product owner, and I'll be taking you through the class for today, which is wireframing for BAs. And we're going to work through Balsamiq, which is the tool you're going to be using for wireframing. Okay. So, these are some of the things we're going to cover. Just to give you an overview with an introduction, we want to talk about what is wireframing for BAs. If you notice, it's for BAs. That's because there are other roles that do wireframing. There are solution architects that do wireframing, there are UX and UI, user experience and user interface designers who use wireframing as well. But for BAs, it's different. And the reason we use it and how we use it is different. So that's why this is wireframing for BAs. I always like making that distinction because and you should go online to look for wireframing videos to learn. Sometimes you come across wireframing videos that are for solution designers. So please know that the one you're looking for is the one for BAs. Okay. There's a difference. So we'll talk about the key components and benefits, how to use Balsamiq. Balsamiq is the tool. There are loads of different tools people use for wireframing. Balsamiq is one of the best for what it does. I'll explain that, and that's what we use here. And then we have a Q&A as well as your take-home task. Okay. So, pro tip. I like giving pro tips. Don't fall in love with your first draft of anything as a BA, but mostly of your first draft of your wireframe, because it's supposed to evolve. It's supposed to move around. You're supposed to, get refinement on it. So move this here, move that there, all that kind of thing. So don't feel bad if your draft is amended and you're asked to change it, because that's actually what it's there for. Okay. So what is wireframing, right? Wireframing is creating the visual representation, typically of a website or a software application, right? That can show you the structure and the layout, but it's usually from the user's perspective, right? So we know that a lot of websites are designed by developers and all of that. So there's a back end to it. But when you're talking about wireframing, you always want to have a visual representation of what the user will see. How will the user interact with this application? Right? How is it designed? How is it laid out? Like, look at this slide right now. There's a layout to it. There's something on the right hand side, there's something at the top. All the images are arranged in a particular way. That's a visual representation of what the slide should be. So if you're looking at your website, for example, pick one, maybe your bank website or your Amazon website. There's a place for everything. They have the company logo, you have the header, you have the footer, there's a way everything is arranged. Most of the time is deliberate. People normally say, I want it to look this way. I want it to look that way. Do you understand? So that's the layout of a website, or it's usually a software application, right? And the benefits is, before something is built, yeah, it gives a blueprint. It shows you what the plan is, how the architecture is supposed to look. Because if I'm telling you something verbally, you may be thinking of something else in your mind. I'll be thinking of something else in my mind. But when you see a picture, when you see an image of it, no issues. Everybody knows where everything is supposed to be. That's why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So this is it shows you what the layout should be, right? And then you're able to see if there are going to be issues. You don't want to wait until it's been developed before you find out issues. If, for example, you have like a sketch of what the website is supposed to be, you can already tell, oh, the where this button is, it seems a bit too far. Can we not move it a bit closer so the user can use it, easier? So when you see what it looks like, you can make all those changes, and then you can talk with your stakeholders. They can basically say, this is how I want it, or this is how it should be, right? So it's very easy to make all those changes before development starts. And like I said, for this course, we're going to be using Balsamic. It's a rapid wireframing tool that helps you create low fidelity, hand-drawn wireframes, right? Low fidelity means it's like a sketch. We're not putting the color, we're not putting the actual text. It's like someone is sketching something, just a very quick pencil sketch, rather than a full-blown painting. When you see a painting, you're like, oh, color, everything. No, we want like a pencil sketch. So we don't want all the text. We don't want all the content. If a content is going to be somewhere, we'll just have squiggly lines to say content will be here, because it's a sketch. But from looking at it, you can tell this is how it's supposed to look. It's almost like a black and white image. You're using a pencil to sketch, right? So that's what it's called, low fidelity. There are high fidelity wireframes, which the difference is low fidelity is like, it's just like a pencil sketch. High fidelity, if the site is supposed to be blue, they'll put blue there. If the logo is supposed to be there, they'll put the actual logo there. We don't, for low fidelity, we don't need the actual logo. We just need a box that says the logo will be here. It'll just be like a box that this is the picture of the logo. So we won't even have the real logo. We won't have the real text, because we just want a sketch. Very quick sketch. We don't have time to be drawing, detailed images. We just want something that's very quick. So that's what Balsamic is, and that's why it's so powerful. Okay. So yeah, so basically, apart from the class, we'll take time to introduce Balsamic to you, and you can use it for the project you're currently working on, which is where your task will come in. All right. So I just finished explaining it. This is a sketch, right? It's like a pencil sketch. It looks like this. It's almost like you're writing you're drawing something. So rather than having the image of the logo, you just put an image there that says logo, and then you put squiggly lines. This is where the image would be. This is where the content would be. So it's just, it shows you how everything is supposed to be laid out. That's all it's supposed to do, right? So that's basically why it's important. It's very, very crucial, right? Because it serves as that blueprint. I already said that before, so I'll just skip through. And it helps the designers, it helps the QAs, it helps the developers know, firstly, it helps everybody plan, and then it helps the people that are developing know where to put what, right? And then, like I said, it's always from the user's perspective. So you are not sketching anything from the back end. That's not what it is. We want to see how the user will see it, how it will look to the user. Again, it's very important because you're able to show the system functionality even before development begins. Imagine if a developer has gone ahead and developed, let's just say, even the header. You know where the header is. It has home, about us, contact us, services, shopping, all those things there. And the developer has taken so much time to do all of that there. And then you come back and the PO says, no, this is not what I told you. I told you that the home button should be somewhere else and about us should be somewhere else. The developer will get upset really quickly. I just spent all this time, all this effort, and you're telling me that it was for nothing. I have to keep moving things around. But when you have an image of where everything should be, not only does the PO approve it before it gets committed to sprint, but the developer sees it, the QA see it, everybody sees it. We're all in agreement that this is what this thing should look like. By the time the developer does it, it's even good, because by the time the developer does it and they bring the thing the developer has developed, it has to match the image. So it can't even pass what do they call it? User acceptance testing until it matches the image of the wireframe, because this is how we told you it should be. We can't tell you that the logo should be on the left and you put it on the right. It won't work, right? So again, it bridges the gap between business and technical teams. When the business is telling you this is what we want, and the technical team is like, okay, what should it look like? It gives you that visual representation, reduces miscommunication. I've just finished saying all of that. And you're able to identify usability issues early, right? And it saves you time. Remember, everybody is being paid for their time. So if it saves you time, it'll definitely save you cost in development. And then you're able to get your stakeholders' approval up front. You don't want to develop something and you bring it to your demo to show them and they're like, but this isn't what we talked about. They would have approved your wireframe. So going into development, everybody knows what it's supposed to look like and all of that. So the purpose is, again, I'm reiterating this because I want to emphasize how important it is, especially for your current project. And I'm going to get to that, right? So you're able to outline the functionality, the layout, without giving details. You don't want to spend time on details. It's quick, you're done. It's very easy to use. It communicates all the ideas, right? And then it validates your requirements. Remember, I told you that your user story on an agile project has three major components. It has the description of the user story. As a user, this is what I want. It has your acceptance criteria. Given that I'm a this, when I do that, then this will happen. Then the third component is your wireframe, because your wireframe is a visual representation of everything you just talked about in your user story and acceptance criteria. If it's not in your user story or acceptance criteria, it cannot be in your wireframe. Your wireframe is the picture of what you have put in your acceptance criteria. It's not the other way around. Some people will write user stories and write acceptance criteria, then they'll put all the detail in the wireframe and say, look at it in the wireframe. No, you cannot do that. If something is not in the user story, it's not in the acceptance criteria, it cannot be in the wireframe, because your wireframe is a picture of your user story and acceptance criteria. Bear that in mind, right? And it acts as a foundation. So once you're done with reading your user story, you pull up your wireframe and say, that thing I just told you about, look at it, look at it. So the logo I talked about, I said the logo should be on the left. Look at it on the left here in the wireframe. The image that I said would be a carousel that I put it in the acceptance criteria. This is what it looks like. Okay. So additional components. This is the purpose, and these are the components. So again, the layout, it has to be arranged on the page. Very important. Navigation. How will the users use it? When I click on this page will appear. Your wireframe will have the first page where the users click and the second page that will appear when the users click it. So your wireframe, you can have multiple wireframes for one story, because your user story says when the user does this, then this will happen, and then this will happen. So once you've talked about all of that in your acceptance criteria, your wireframe has to be the evidence or be the visual representation of all of that. Content, remember I said, if you have about us, a lot of websites, they have about us, blah, 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 blah. You don't go and get the about us and put in the wireframe. No, you just have squiggly lines to say, okay, this is where the text will be. This is where the image will be. Just very quick sketches and other media, right? And then functionality. So you have the buttons and the forms and all those sorts of things. So the process, right, is I've already talked about the fact that your wireframe has to fit the user story, and your user story is the documentation of your requirement. So every requirement has to have that visual representation, right? It's not complete if you don't have the wireframe to go with it. So those stories that you committed to sprint yesterday, because they don't have a wireframe, they're not complete. I asked if you guys have talked about your definition of ready and definition of done. It would be nice to see it, but that's not, that's fine. You should have a definition of ready and definition of done, and your definition of ready should include a wireframe. And that means that if your story doesn't have a wireframe, then it is not ready. So until it's ready, it cannot be committed to sprint. And if it has been committed to sprint, you can say, okay, can we commit it to sprint right now? I will make sure that in the next minutes or hour or day, I'll quickly do the wireframe and attach it. So that's sometimes the B is if for any reason you're not able to attach your wireframe and you're in sprint planning and you want to commit the story, you can commit to the team to say, guys, I'm really sorry, the wireframe is not included. I'll scramble really quickly, get it done and attach it. Okay. No unnecessary elements. I've talked about all of that. There's no need for detail. You just want sketches. And this, once you do that, your stakeholders can see how the requirements are being implemented because they told you about it verbally, but you're now showing them, okay, this is what it will look like when we're done developing. So for good wireframes, you need to have a very good understanding of what the requirements are. You need to understand what the scope is, what the objectives of the wireframe is. I told you, if it's not in the user story, it cannot be, and your user story includes acceptance criteria, it cannot be in your wireframe. Don't add extra detail in your wireframe that is not there. If you put something there, then you need to add it to your user story or you remove it from your wireframe. Again, it's low fidelity. It's lo-fi. That's what it's called. No pictures, no images. You find some wireframes where people add all these things. It's not necessary. It is supposed to be a very quick way. You don't want to spend time adding all that detail. And then it's subject to review and iteration, right? So high fidelity wireframe, some people use it. Again, some people may ask for high fidelity ones, but usually for this project we're working on, it's low fidelity. And I'll tell you what the difference is a bit later. Okay. So the tools for wireframing are many, very, very many. These are some of the more popular ones. So Balsamiq is your lo-fi, very top of the market tool, but it's simple, looks hand-drawn, quick, easy to use, drag and drop. I'll show you, it's very, very easy. The more you use it, the more conversant you'll be in it. So don't worry if you're struggling for a while, but practice makes perfect. So keep using it. You learn to use it and you'll be proficient in it very quickly. Figma is another very popular one. So Figma is known as it can be a high fidelity wireframing tool. Why is it high fidelity? Because it captures everything. Figma is the one where you want to see what the colors are, what the images are, what the actual logo looks like, what everything looks like. Figma is like real life. It's almost like a photograph. And that's what a lot of some of the professional UI UX designers use. But we are BAs, we don't need all that design. The story doesn't need all that design. It needs a very quick sketch. So most of us use Balsamiq, and that's what we're going to be using for the project. There are others, Adobe XD, Sketch, InVision. These are just a few of them, right? So again, remember, the reason you're here is so you can get a job. You always want to tell them what tools you know how to use. So we don't just want you to say, I can use Balsamiq. We want you to actually be able to use Balsamiq and you can talk it through. So we're going to use that here. But for others like Figma, which is another very popular one, another popular one is Miro. Don't know if you guys have heard it, very popular. You can learn about those on your own and add them to your CV. Don't put anything in your CV you can't use because someone will ask you and you may not be able to back it up. You don't want that. So go online, watch the videos, learn how to a cursory use, not a long thing, and then you can put it there. But Balsamiq, you're going to be very proficient in Balsamiq because that's what we use here. For best practices, remember I told you that the wireframe is always from the user's perspective. So make sure you understand what the user's needs are. what is the goal? What is their pain point? What do we want to achieve? How do we want the user to use this application or this software or this thing we're designing, this product we're designing? So always make sure that the layout or the functionality is from the perspective and it addresses what the core requirements are. Keep it simple. Remember the first thing I told you, don't fall in love with your first draft because people are going to change it. You're going to move it around a lot. So keep it simple. Make sure it's clean, uncluttered. You find some people adding unnecessary images and it's not necessary, right? So again, you iterate on feedback. Your wireframe will always go through your PO. The same way they refine your user stories, they will look through your wireframe and make sure that it's correct. And if they need you to change anything, you can do it really quickly. Sometimes while you're there with your PO, you're like, okay, I've made the change you've asked for. Can I show it to you? Show it to them. They approve it. You upload it. You're good to go. Okay. Then maintain consistency, right? When you're developing a website, you're usually doing it from page to page to page. So if you've designed what the header and the footer looks like, even if on the home page, you know what the header and the footer looks like. When you go to the About Us page, the header and the footer will not change. You go to the Contact Us page, the header and the footer will not change. Everything else or some things may change, but there are some elements of the website that remain the same. So if you've gotten approval for the header and the footer, regardless of what else you design, as long as that design has that same header and footer, keep that design. Don't keep changing it. You can copy and duplicate and build from what you have, but make sure that uniformity and that consistency is there, especially because there are multiple BAs here. Normally there's only one BA on a project, so it's not an issue. But now that you have multiple BAs here, all of you have to work on wireframes. So you guys have to collaborate and agree on what the header and the footer looks like. And once your PO has approved it, you make sure that you guys retain it, whether it's one BA or the other BA that is doing it. You make sure that that uniformity is different. Sometimes you see BAs, the header will be different from, maybe it's an inch long, half an inch long. Someone will make it a quarter inch long. Don't do that. All of you guys work together, agree on what it looks like, and then make sure that there's consistency throughout. Okay. And then always test, right? Create prototypes, test it, make sure it's what is needed. If there are areas of improvement, improve it, and then keep it moving. Okay. Before I move on to this, can I just ask, is there any question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to double check with you because when you're doing the wireframing, for instance, and you're going using the header, and like when you have the about us, contact, and all of those things, do you just put the sketch box there without kind of putting anything? I just want to double check with that. Just the sketch box without highlighting this is for about us or whatever, because the description is kind of already saying it, so you don't need to, right?
No, so you need some detail. So for example, if you're creating a header that has different buttons,
Okay.
a button for home, a button
Mm-hmm.
for contact us, a button for sign up, a button for
Mm-hmm.
register, you have to write what the button is called. If you're
Okay.
creating a form where you have, oh, sign up, put your email address, put your login details, put your password. You can put those sign up, password. You can put
Okay.
lines that show what the page is on. But when I say don't add text, it's like if you're creating an about us and
Mhm.
people are saying the mission and the vision and all of that, you now put all that text. No, there's no
Okay.
need. But you should be able to put buttons, because remember, you're writing it from the user's perspective. The user
Okay.
should be able to see where I need to put in my email address, where I need to log in, where I need.
Okay.
So all those buttons, the words need to be there, so the developer will know.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
this
That's fine.
button is for home.
Okay.
This button is for this. This button. I'll show you some examples
Okay.
anyway.
That's fine then. Thank you.
No problem. That was a good question. Anyone else have any other questions before I move on? No? All right, moving on. So the wireframing process, right? This is recorded, so I'll skip quickly, especially because of time. Your wireframe has to be clear, focused, hierarchical, consistent, annotated. When I say hierarchical, remember this is an agile project. You're building on different things, right? You don't, it's not like a waterfall a project that you design first before you build. With agile, you build in iterations. So for each sprint, you're adding value. Maybe for this sprint, you've worked on the landing page, right? So you've added value for that. Then for the next sprint, you're working on the sales page, right? You add value on that. The next sprint, so you keep adding value for each sprint. The same way your wireframes have to be hierarchical. You have to build one thing first and build the other on top of it, then build the other. It's like you start with your foundation, then you build the floor, then you build the first floor, second floor, all you keep building on top of it. You don't, if you're building a building, you don't start by building the roof before you build the foundation. No, you layer it one on the other. You keep going how it's supposed to go, right? So it's supposed to be, you have to follow that process. I've talked about consistency, annotated. If there are notes you want to add, that you want the developer or the QAs to take a note of this, you can annotate it, that's fine. Make sure it's not too detailed. That's your inefficient wireframes. Make sure, I've talked about consistent, so obviously make sure it's not inconsistent. Make sure it's not lacking context. What's the context? You don't just put something there and nobody knows what it's about. Again, for context, your wireframe is a visual representation of your user story, so that's your context anyway. It's not fixated. It has to be amendable, right? You need to be able to move it around. And again, remember, it's from the user's perspective. So if you neglect the user, then what are we doing? Do you understand? So each element should match the requirements and the user story, right? So this is actually, I think we've gone through all of this before. All right, so now we want to introduce the actual tool you're going to be using, which is balsamic. I know there's balsamic vinegar. It's pronounced the same way, but it's not spelled the same way. So please pay attention when you're writing it down. It's balsamic with a Q, right? So it's, again, top of the line for what it does, right? It's very good for what it does. Very simple. It looks hand drawn. You can even see their logo. Very, just looks like someone is drawing something with a pencil. They're sketching with a pencil. And again, it focuses on the user experience, right? It's very easy to use. Don't worry about making a mistake. You will. It comes with practice, but don't be afraid of making a mistake. Just keep practicing until you get it, right? And then another thing I try to encourage BAs a lot is pay attention to formatting and how things look. We do a lot of documentation, right? Some people just put things on a page and they don't really care how it looks like. Don't be that kind of BA. Pay attention to detail. So if something is supposed to be straight, make sure it's straight. Don't leave it slanted, right? Make sure everything that is supposed to be the same size is the same size, right? Make sure they're all aligned. All these things separate BAs. You don't know why one BA gets a job and the other doesn't. It's because one goes the extra mile to just make sure that you do it properly. So even in your wireframes, remember your wireframe is supposed to look like the website. I don't know what website we've looked at that is wonky or shaky, or you look at it, it's not straight. One thing element is big, the other one is small. You go to that website, you just go like, these guys are not serious, and you move along. So even in creating your wireframes, please take time. I know it will take a bit longer because you're not used to it, but when you're used to it, you just find quick ways of doing things. It's already easy to use. I'll show you, don't worry. It's not difficult at all. Then quick wireframing, quick. Like I told you, sometimes when you know how to use this thing, while you're even still in the sprint planning meeting and they're like, oh, you haven't created the wireframe. Like, sorry, let me just do it. Why are you even talking? Quick, do the wireframe. I've attached it, or you people should look at it. It's so easy to do. So it's very quick. It shouldn't take that much time. At the start, it probably take a bit more time because, like I said, you're not used to it. But the more you use it for every story, because you're going to need to do that, the easier it becomes. And once you do that, don't get bogged down by details. Just put the basic things you need and keep it moving. And I've talked about user experience multiple times. So Balsamiq is very good at that. Okay. So some of the key features of Balsamiq are it comes with its own components. Some people import things to Balsamiq. You can do that, but honestly, their library of elements is so vast that most of the time there's no need to do that. You have more than enough of whatever you need, whether you want to create a website or a mobile app or whatever you want to create. There are a lot of features that come out of the box. And then for things that are not out of the box, you can quickly design on yourself. So there's a huge library of buttons and menus and input. I'll show you some of them. Really good. And play around with it. Again, don't be afraid of the tool. If you make any mistake, you can undo it and start again, or Control Z. All those things work, right? It's very easy. Remember, I told you about annotation. If you need to, we don't really need to for some of these projects we do here, but if you ever need to, because it's collaborative, a lot of times project team members actually have access to the same Balsamiq project, so they can all look at things and make notes and all of that. But in this particular one, only the BA will have access to it. So you may not really need this annotation skills. But as you guys are working together as BAs, someone may write something. If maybe you're doing something and you notice something on your other colleagues Balsamiq, you can leave a comment for them. So that's fine. So it has those capabilities. And I've even talked about collaboration. It's very collaborative. Some people actually demo their website from Balsamiq. It's so good. You can do that. But again, we may not go to all those capabilities, but Balsamiq is really good. It has a comprehensive set of features that it helps the wireframe. It makes it so easy. Okay. And it just helps us with what we need to do. All right. So I'll show you all of this. This was just a bit of a taster, but there might not be any need. So you have your canvas where you work. That's your white canvas. It's usually blank, and you put all kinds of things on. These buttons here, they're all called controls. What does a control do? You have your inspector. So each element or each control has its own properties. So you can look to see what properties that control has. If you have the time, again, play around with it. There are assets, symbols, you can group, you can navigate, you can list, there are tools, you can export. Exporting is very important, especially for you guys, because you're the only ones who have access to Balsamiq. So when you're done creating your wireframe, you need to export it and include it onto your user story. Again, I'll show you how to use that. There's a library. There's so many, you can layer things on. I've talked about undo, redo, panel, zoom, all of that. There are loads and loads of features. Okay, so we're going to do a quick Balsamiq walkthrough. I'll show you about how to, I won't really show you how to set up a new project. I'll show you the new project that has been set up for you, because you won't need to do that. How to add components onto your wireframe, how to arrange and align wireframes, add styles, formatting. There's even interactivity between a lot of the different wireframes. You can link them together. You can add. It's a vast tool. Honestly, we won't have the opportunity to exhaust even half of what it can do. So again, I'm encouraging you to take advantage of your access, play around with it, and get used to it. And then balsamiq.com, right? If you go on there, there's no need to sign up. It has a resource library. I'll show you. You can learn as much. It will show you every single thing. So if you're ever stuck, you're like, I need to do ABCD, you can go to balsamic.com and check. You can Google it, you can watch videos. Don't just get stuck and frustrated. There's no need for that. There are loads of how-tos online. So again, this is another juncture where I'll stop and ask if you have any questions for me. Any questions? No? All right, let's move on. So I'm going to open Balsamic once I'm done with this, but your take-home task is you need to add wireframes to all the user stories you've created for Sprint 1, right? All those stories you've created, you need to go back and add wireframes to them, because remember, your user story is not complete until you have wireframes, right? You need to refine and approve all those wireframes with your PO. You can't commit anything until it's been approved by your PO, and that includes your wireframes, right? After approval, you need to work through the wireframes with your project team. And the way to work through your wireframes, a lot of BAs learning, they get it wrong. You read your user stories. BAs always read our user stories, right? You pull up your user story, the BA reads it, you read your description, you read your acceptance criteria. Once you're done with that, you pull up a wireframe and say, this is the wireframe. If you're explaining your wireframe, you haven't done it well. All the explanation is in the user story and the acceptance criteria. So you find a BA that is open and saying, okay, the logo has to be here, the logo has to be on the left, must be part of your user story and your acceptance criteria. So everything you need to say should be said before you pull up your wireframe. Once you're done saying everything you need to say, reading, remember, another thing BAs do is they start making explanations that are not in the acceptance criteria. That's another faux pas. Don't do that. Every explanation you need has to be documented. Why? Because you won't be there when the QAs are working. You won't be there when the developer is working. So anything you need to say, document it. So when you pull up your story, all you do is read your story. Every detail is there. If they ask you a question and it's not included, include it, because they need it to work. So don't start explaining your user story or start explaining your wireframe. Once you do that, that's wrong. Everything must be contained in your acceptance criteria so it can be tested and developed, or developed and tested. So once you're done with all of that, you pull up your wireframe. Your wireframe is a picture. That's it, right? So everything that you said will be represented on your wireframe. And you have to ensure that all that word is not a misnomer. All your user stories now have wireframes for refinement and approval. Thank God this class has QAs and other people here. So QAs and developers, if you come on there and you see a user story that doesn't have a wireframe, feel free to ask your BA, where's the wireframe? There should always be a wireframe. It should be part of your definition already. All right, so let's go straight to Balsamic in action. I'll stop sharing this and we can go straight to Balsamic. Before I do that, I want to ask again, any questions for me? No? All right, am I still sharing? Oh, I am. No, I'm not. Okay, let me share my screen again. Oh, sorry about that. Let me pick up one. Sorry, let me remove this. I don't need this. Just 1 minute. Sorry about that. I want to show you guys a blank one because that's what you're going to see. So just 1 minute. Let me switch project teams. All right, so let me share again. All right. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Let me go out of this. All right, cool. All right, so this is your project page, right? Your team summit, right? So this is for all the BAs. Now, at the moment, there are no BAs that have been added here because I've asked for your email addresses and I'm waiting for them. I understand it's not your fault, but as soon as you can get it, please make it available so I can give you access and you guys can start working. So this is what this looks like, right? At the top, you have your project, you have your name, all of that. Then you have your blank canvas. Remember, I talked about canvas. This is what the canvas looks like, right? It's blank when you come across. You can create a new wireframe either by clicking on the header here. You have your wireframe, and then you have some other options here to either rename, duplicate, copy, cut, all of that. All that is under here. You have your edit button that also has its own different buttons and all of that. You have your view. How do you want to view, show comments, all of that. And then the second way to create a new wireframe is on this navigational pane here, right? So you can click on new wireframe. And once you have a new wireframe, it will populate in this left column here, right? So once you have, now let me, as I'm teaching you how to use Balsamiq, I also want to teach you some of the etiquette of Balsamiq because you are going to access it with a number of BAs. So at the moment, I think there are 4 or 5 BAs on this project at the moment. So you're not using this platform by yourself. So it's a communal platform, it's a project platform. So there's some etiquette, their best practice of how you use some of these things. So when you create a new wireframe, right, there's a default here that just tells you new wireframe 1, new wireframe 2. Don't just leave it like this. Name your wireframe. Your wireframe, remember, is a picture of your user story. So you're creating it to have to be a visual representation of a user story. So what's the user story about? That should be the name of the wireframe. So let's say, for example, I'm creating the wireframe for a login page, right? Once I create a new one, I can click on here and rename the wireframe. So this, once you click on rename, this comes up. So I want to create a login page, right? Let me put tutorial here. So in case I don't delete it, you guys can delete it because sometimes there are loads of wireframes that people have here and they're just a mess. So you want to make sure that this place is properly named. I've created this one. If I need it, fine. If I don't, but don't leave any new wireframes there. Let's say I don't, I put it there by accident, then I can delete it. So I have a drop down here. It says move to trash. I can move it to trash, or I can rename it and use it for something else, right? You're going to be creating a lot of wireframes. So chances are you may need to, you can even use it called a placeholder, just so that, okay, instead of creating a new wireframe, I can just come and use this one next time. Maybe I don't need it now. Rather than moving it to trash, I can just make a placeholder. So when I need it again, I can just rename it to registration page. Okay, registration page tutorial. All right, tutorial. Yeah, sometimes I can even put Uzo there so people know that it's mine. If you guys are, because you're all, even though as BAs, even though when the requirements are given for the project's sake, most of the time the requirements are shared among the BA. So if, for example, you guys have like 10 requirements, it's divided among you guys 2, or 3. As a BA, you came here by yourself. So just remember, you didn't come hand in hand with someone else. You came by yourself. So that means you want to get as much as you can from this internship program. And I've already stated that most projects only have one BA. So this is probably the only time you're going to see multiple BAs on one project, unless it's a massive project. And even you as a BA will have a huge chunk of work to do. There's usually just one BA. There are many QAs, sometimes multiple developers, usually one BA. So get used to doing all the work yourself. So even when you get 10 requirements and they're shared among you two, if you do two and you end it there, well, do all the 10, practice all the 10. Yes, they may only use two. Keep the rest in your practice folder on Azure DevOps, right? Create a practice folder for yourself that is titled Ufoma or Vivian, and anything you're doing that is not part of the project, that is just your practice, just put it there so that it won't be mistaken as part of the project. But you know how to write the stories, because each story is different. So if you only write 2 out of 10 stories, you only get that experience. You need to practice all the stories. I said all of that because you also need to create all the wireframes. Yes, it's a lot of work, but trust me, you gain a lot. That's how I learned. I got my first BA job, right? So don't hesitate in creating all as many wireframes as you need to, or writing stories. But if I know that I'm not really the one to write that story, maybe they divided it and I'm supposed to write login page, but I'm not supposed to write registration story, registration page story, but I want to. I can just put tutorial. I can just put Uzo, right? I can name it Uzo. So everybody knows that this is my practice. It's not part of the project, but this is me, Uzo, practicing, Uzo registration page, and I do my work, right? So nobody's going to come and say, oh, this is because this is for the project. No, the one for the project is for the project, but this is my practice, and you can feel free to create as many as you want, right? Just be careful. Don't just be creating new wireframe, and it's just populating the place. Because if you do that, there'll be I'll show you another project. Sometimes the wireframes can go on for like 100 wireframes, and if people are looking for wireframes, it can be a lot. So now it looks like you can just populate wireframes anyhow, but sometimes wireframes can be in the hundreds because you're writing hundreds of stories, or maybe you're changing all of that. So just be careful when you do some of those things. Okay, so that's how to name and rename. Then on this pane, you can see here when you have loads, you can scroll up and down, because like I said, there are loads of wireframes here. Once you start using it, you find out that there are so many. You can see them lined up like this, or you can see them open. Maybe you're searching for something. Both of these are blank at the moment, but you can see once I click on it, it'll highlight the wireframe that is currently being shown. And if anything is put there, for example, you now see what's on there. I want to put this on here again. You now see, so once you use this visual thumbnail, you can actually see what's on the wireframe, rather than when it's all lined up like this, you can only see it by the name. So, but obviously this takes a lot more space. So I'm just going to undo. All I did was Control Z, and everything just went back. So it's very user friendly. It uses a lot of the same, what do they call it? Same controls that we all use. And you can use this to scroll up and down. This is your undo, redo button, all of that. Yeah. And then on this other pane, right, you have your inspector pane. When there is nothing highlighted, this is what it will look like. But if, for example, I put one of these controls here and I click on it, it will show me all the properties of this particular highlighted control. So it's very, very intuitive. It's very, very intuitive. If there's nothing there, it won't show me anything. I can just put my notes and my comments and all those things. These are the notes I was telling you about. These are comments. If you want to leave your comment there, if I leave a comment here, it will tell me that Uzo has left a comment. You can zoom in and zoom out. Again, let me put this here. So you can use this to zoom in, right? Maybe I want to have a closer look at it, or I can zoom out. I can expand, expand the page. I can, zoom to, once you hover over it, it will tell you what all of this does, right? So all these are the different things that it does. All right, now let's go to the good stuff, okay? So this is your control panel. Let me just put it that way. And when you come here, you're able to see all the different, they're called controls. Some people call them elements. All the different controls of that Balsamiq has for you, right? You can see each of them. If you want, for example, a lot of what we do is creating web pages, right? So the way to move something from the panel to your page is to either double click or drag and drop. So if I double click, it will appear here. And if I drag and drop, it will appear here as well. Now, every page has its properties. Remember, I told you once you highlight it and you click here, you can see all the different properties. But better still, there are pages that are editable. So this tells you this is a web page. If you double click on it, everything that is editable will show you. So this is supposed to be a web page. I don't want it to be a web page. I want it to be the page of the web browser that I'm creating. So guys, give me the name of a website. What do we want our website to be about? Just shout out anything.
ClickCart.
ClickCart. No, it cannot be your project thing. Now, how far you want me to do your work for you? It has to be something that it's not part of your project work. This is just a tutorial.
Wedding.
Is a website called, give me like the name of a website.
Can we use Amazon as an example, no?
Let's be, I don't want to replicate Amazon. Let's create something from scratch.
L'Oreal.
It's not from scratch. That's a known brand. Give me something you
like a name, somebody's name. Like LAUREL.
What's the website about? So we want
wedding dresses. Wedding dresses.
L'Oreal's wedding dresses, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so L'Oreal's. This is a website about L'Oreal's wedding dresses. Remember, this is true to life. You want to create a wireframe that looks the way it would look once it's being done designed. Yes, it's low file, but it still has to have the right details. So if your website is going to be called L'Oreal's wedding dresses, that's what the website would be. Then this would be your www.L'Oreal's. Let me make sure I have the correct. L'Oreal's wedding dresses. Okay, there you go. So once you finish, you click out of the box and see you have your, so this is what, when you're on a particular page and it tells you this is Balsamiq. So you have the title of the website here, then you have the actual address of the website. Then, so this is your normal browser page. You can click on it. Once you click on it, you see these boxes here. Once you hover over it, it'll tell you what you can do with it. You can stretch, you can reduce, but again, we want it to be true to life. So if this is how a website looks, then make sure it looks that way. You can, once you stretch it, you can see the grids that are appearing. So even the site is even helping you make sure that everything is properly aligned. It gives you grids to work on, right? So this is your web page. You've put that there. So let's say now a web page has like a search button, right? And you want to add your search button to it. So you can scroll here, because once you use something, it comes, this is your essentials. So it has your UI controls and it has your essentials. If you click on all of this, you see all of them. You can scroll, keep scrolling. It'll keep showing you all the different choices you have. There's so many. The library is vast. You have icons, you have links. So let's say, for example, that I want an actual link to be here. So I double click on this again, right? So rather than just the name here, I want an actual link to be here. So I drag and drop this. Sorry. Let me see. Let me remove this first. See if it will do what I want it to do. Okay, here you go. Will it let me do that? Maybe it won't. Sorry, my website, I think my internet is a bit slow. Let me see if it will let me. It won't. Okay, let me see. Oh, here we go. It will, but in a very, I have to superimpose it. I'm so sorry. My what do they call it? My internet, what they call it is a bit slow. So as you can see, I want to drag this here. Oh, let's double click on it. Here we go. Sorry, my internet is misbehaving and my controls are okay. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Sorry.
I wanted to ask you, would we give you our email addresses before you leave, or is there a particular person that will give it to you from admin?
Not from admin. I asked your SMs. Aren't you all on your Telegram hub?
Yes, we are there.
I dropped a message there asking for the BA's email addresses. Could the SM send me the BA email addresses? Did you guys not see that?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm here, and that was one of the things we stayed back to grab. So if you know you haven't messaged me with your email address, and
you have mine, right?
Yeah, if you know you've sent it to me, you're covered. But if you haven't sent to me, please just say hi or something, and I would reach out to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think my what do they call it is stuck. My laptop is misbehaving. Anyway, if you want a link, I'm so sorry. I think I'll keep trying to. You can basically drag and drop different things on here. If this is a proper link to a website, so you can drag it. Let me see if it will work this time. If it doesn't, I'll move on, honestly. And then you can double click on it to okay, that's moved here, but it's not working. All right, guys, I think okay, let's see. ATP www.laurel's dresses, wedding dresses, dresses.com. So this is supposed to be an actual link. I don't know if you guys can see all of this. Yes, so here you go. So this is actually a clickable link. My system is so slow. I apologize. So yeah, but if you scroll, you can see loads and loads and loads of different things to do, right? I just want to go through some of the main features, right? Before we settle down to design something. I'm so conscious of time. So what I'll do very quickly, if I show you some of the features and we're not able to design something, then we'll do it at another time, or you can schedule a call with your mentors, and ask them, could we go through Balsamiq again? There are some questions I have. Or once you get access, you come and you play around with it, or you go online. We have loads of Balsamiq videos on BlueSky and online, so you can learn that by yourself as well. But let me just show you some of the other examples of some of these features and what it can do while my laptop is behaving itself. All right, let me switch projects. I'll show you a different one. I don't want to play around with yours too much. Okay, well, maybe it's Balsamiq. I don't think it's Balsamiq. I think it's my laptop. All right, let me share again. Let's do this really quickly because we don't even have that much time anyway. Okay. So while it's opening that, I'll just show you the balsamiq.com website. So you click on learn, You don't have to sign up for anything. There's Balsamic Academy. If you click on it, there are loads of videos. They want you to learn whatever you need to learn so you can use their product. So there are loads and loads and loads of how do I do this, tips, color. There's so much. So even though you learn the functionality, for what you need to do, just keep it simple. Okay, they're going to show you how to do A, B, C, D, E, and Z. Learn it and keep it in your back pocket. But for your wireframes here, just keep it simple. Okay, this is still loading. Any other questions while we're waiting for Balsamic to load? Any other questions? No. All right, let me see if I can speed this up a bit. I hope I don't regret this, but let's try. While we're there, let me try. Oh, it has opened. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, let me share my screen. Yep. All right. Yeah, I know. That's fine. So see what happens when you have loads and loads of wireframes. So you're looking for one, it takes a while to look for it. So yes, I just want to show you some of the properties of the wireframes available on Balsamic, right? So let me see. The arrow, for example, if you click on an arrow, you can double click on it and write on it. So again, if, for example, you want something that's directional, you can say yes or no, right? And you do that, click out of the box, it will put that on there. So even though the arrow doesn't have anything here, it does have information. Like I said, once you click on something, and you click on here, it will show you what the properties are. But if you're not sure, you can double click on it. If it has an editable feature, it will open up. If it doesn't have an editable feature, it doesn't matter how many times you click, it won't show up. You have your button, for example. If you click on it, most of the text is not final. So you have a button here, but remember, buttons are there are many kinds of buttons on websites. So maybe you want you're creating a login page and you want the button to be submit. So you change that word to submit, and then you put this as part of your website. Okay. Images, very, very important. Images are so these are your images, right? They're just your normal X. Once you drop it here, you can stretch it for longer banner images, or sorry, you can stretch it. Let me go out of this. I'll come back to that. Yes, I know. Let's click out of it. So you can click on this and stretch it for bigger images or reduce it for your normal logo image. You double click on it and you can write logo on there. You have a post-it notes, for example. If you double click on it, you can change the comment to please call me, or whatever else you need to put on there. It's editable. You have a drop down, right? You see some of these controls that are drop down. For example, if you have a button that drops down to say services, then when you click on services, it says marketing, sales, finance, all of that. So if you have a wireframe like that, you can use this particular control, and then when you click on it, it shows you all the different things, and you can keep adding more. Once you come down here, you can add marketing, finance, as many as you want. You just keep going, and once you click out of it again, you can see all of that there. And this feature is actually really good because if, for example, you want to see student is being highlighted. Maybe you want graduates to be highlighted. You click on it, you go to your properties, and it shows you all the different properties. So it says the selection here is student. Maybe I want the selection to be graduate. I click on the drop down here, and it shows me all the different things I've added. So I want it to be graduate. I click on graduate, and you can see it has changed what the selection is here. So that is very useful when you're writing the story for the student journey, the graduate journey, the lecturer journey. So every time you're writing that particular journey, you highlight the particular one you're referring to, right? So there are loads and loads and loads of different controls here. This is another one for a website. Remember, we're talking about a header website, and you want your header to be home, contact us, registration. So you click on this, it shows you all of that. Once you click your you put a comma, right? You can add something else. What are we about us? Mission, anything you want. Once you click out of it, you can see your header has increased. I want to stretch it, make it bigger. It's very, very versatile. Maybe I don't want to do that again. I click on my undo, or my undo here, or redo. It'll do it for me, right? You want a big title. You drag and drop this. You have your big title. You want your smaller title. You have that here. You want to have some text on here. Perhaps you want to put it on here. You drop it and the text is there, right? Then some other features. Again, remember we're talking about a website. I want us to finish. I know we're supposed to finish by 11, so I want to aim for that. But if you have any questions, please let me know. But we still have a bit more to talk about. So let's say, for example, you're creating a website, right? And you want to add different elements or different controls on here. You're not sure of, maybe you want to add a field to password and email, right? You want a field just to put your password and email on here. Let me remove all of this. So again, when you're working on all these different things, adding all these different elements, you may want to group them together so they won't move. Because if, for example, I don't do that and I move a particular thing, maybe I move one, all these things are grouped. That's why it's already grouped. So you can group everything you're working on as one. And again, if you click on the control, you'd be able to see the features of it. Just right click on it. It will tell you, you can deselect the image, you can lock the image, you can unlock it, you can group it together, all of that. You can move things to the back from the front, all of that. It's all very, to be honest with you, it's all very intuitive. Like the more you're clicking on things, you can learn what it's able to do and what it's not able to do, right? So I ungrouped that before. If you want to group anything together, all you have to do is highlight it. Just go to the outside of what you want to highlight, and then you just drag, compass everything, just drag across everything you want to. Once you do that, it's highlighted, you can group everything together. So it will tell you to group all of that together. This is really helpful, especially when you design something that is very detailed. Let's say you're designing a website. I want to show you some examples. I hope I can pick on a good one to show you. So this, for example, is a website that a web page that someone created a wireframe for. As you can see how detailed it is. It has your search button. It has your become an instructor. It has your login, sign up. It has all the different icons there. It has images here. It has your footer here. It has your social media pages here. This is even, contact us, all of that. Remember when I told you, if you want to put on text, you don't put the actual text, you just generally put scribbles. So you can put that here, or you can even put this particular one, just any text, basically. I think this is the one they used for this, right? So you can see your squiggly lines, everything is all there, right? If you want it to be bigger, you can make it bigger. If you want it to be smaller, you can make it smaller. So I'm expanding on it and it's increasing. Or I want to make it maybe just 2 lines, and I reduce it and I have my 2 lines, right? So a lot of these things are very versatile. Let me see if I can find another one to show you. You can literally replicate an actual page, what a page is supposed to look like. There's no end to what you can do. As long as you know where everything should be, you can replicate all of this. Someone puts the logo here, great, but there's no need to. A box with the logo on there is more than enough. There's absolutely no need to do that. And all of that. So yeah, there are loads and loads of different features. And if, for example, you're not sure of what to use, this is your search functionality. Let's say, for example, you want a combo box, right? You don't know what it's called, but you know it's a combo box. You can click, I want a combo. It should be A, B, C, D of different things. Your combo box is there, and it has your drop down, right? You can add different things to it. Option 1, option 2, and all of that. And then once you go out of it, you can see it has changed all of that here. So there are loads and loads and loads of functionality. This one comes with your highlighted text. Maybe you want to attach a web link. You can actually add the web link here. You can add your icons. There's so much you can do, right? So we are working with, oh, I moved out of that page. I know we're working with Laurel's wedding dresses. So let's say we want to create a sign-up page for Laurel's dresses. Let me see if I can do one quickly. If my my website, what they call it, my system has a problem, then we may need to leave that for another day. So we were creating Laurel's wedding dresses, and we want to Laurel's, no, there's no comma here. So again, you make sure that your wireframe is an image of what you want. So if you don't find something on a web page, don't put it on your wireframe. If it's not in your user story, don't put it on your wireframe. But let me see how I can do this really quickly. So we want to create a login page for Laurel's wedding dresses. So what does a typical login page look like? Give me some features of, if you want to log into a website, Amazon, your bank, whatever it is, what's a typical login page look like? Anybody?
Probably have the logo of the company.
Okay, so let's look for image. Okay, so we have this image here. Yeah, I want to put that here as a logo. Logos are usually smaller, so I make it a bit small. Will it let me write on it? Nope, it won't. Okay, let's see if I can do this here. Right click. Will it? Okay, let's leave that there for now. So okay, so that's my logo. Let me see if it will let me add over to it. Normally, I don't know why my system is misbehaving, but if you click on this, it would normally allow you write logo on there, but let's leave it at that for now. Okay, so we have our logo. Okay, what next do we have on a typical login page? Or what should we have for Laurel's wedding? Let's say I'm a customer and I want to buy from her. So I want to sign into my account, log into my account. What, apart from the logo on the website, what else would be on the website?
Password.
Thank you very much. So I want to add a password. That's not how it should go, but I'll take it from now. I'll take it from there. So I want a box. I don't know if it'll okay, text area. Yes, okay. So I want to add my text area. There's usually a smaller one, but okay, fine. Let's put that there. So let's have a password field, because you have your password and then you have the box to put it in. So next to it, I'll have password. So I'll have password right next to it. Make sure it's all aligned. Okay. What else will I have? So I have my password here, and then I can input the password right here. What else should I have on my login page?
We have
Username.
yeah, username.
Okay, fantastic. Now, when you're creating a lot of different things, I may not want to do all of that again. So if, for example, because they're normally very aligned and they usually use the same fields, I want to replicate this. I highlight this, I click on my shift button, and I also highlight this. So as you can see, it has highlighted both of those fields together. So whatever I'm doing, all these fields, they'll move together. Once you highlight something, you've added them together. I can group them together, or I can do whatever I want to do together. So I want to create what did you say? It was username, right?
Username, yes.
Okay, so I want to duplicate this. So there's a copy. So I have my copy and it says paste here. Oops. Yes, allow. Me and my system. Okay, so it has given me the duplicate here. I position it on top, and this is now user name. Okay. Awesome. So I have two fields rather than trying to align and make sure. You can see all these things, and you have your grid to help you. Every time I click on I want to move things around, you can see that the grid appears. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I think I missed. Will it let me do it? Okay. So as you can see now, another issue why things are grouped together. These ones are all moving together, but then my logo is not. So as you can see, hey. But look at how intuitive it is. By the time it comes close, I don't know if you guys can see that gray area that is telling you this is the distance a normal sites are. So leave it here, right? If I move it, it'll move. If you're doing it very fast, you won't see it. But if you slow down, it'll show you, oh, this is a nice distance to keep things in. So, but if I'm done with all of this and I want everything to be static, I don't want it to move, I can highlight all of this and group it together. So when I group it together, it locks. It doesn't allow any movement again. But anyway, we're still designing. So let's continue. What else do I have on the login page?
The sign in button.
Sign in button. That's the one that says when I finish, I'll click on sign in. Awesome. So this is a good, so this is a good one to have here. So I'll put the button here. Remember, I can change it. It has even highlighted it for me. So this is my sign in, right? So I just have my sign in there. So when I finish putting my username and my password, I can put sign in. What else do you normally have on a login page?
Forgotten password.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. So you have forgotten password. So I can put now this is very big text, subtitle. I want small text. So I can just basically drag and drop here. And I have my forgotten password in case. But a lot of times forgotten passwords are clickable, right? If they want you to click on it, because it will take you to another page. So let's say this can work, but let's say I want it to be a clickable link. So I delete this and I bring in my web link here, right? And I double click on it and I put my forgotten password here. and I click out of it. So you can see, because it's highlighted like a hyperlink, right? Like it's blue. So you know that that's forgotten password. So I don't know if you guys are seeing what's happening, right? This thing is so intuitive. Remember, I told you about being precise and, you know, paying attention to detail. Look at all the information it's giving me to make sure that I align things properly. Look at all the grids, all the lines. It's showing me that if I leave it here, it's aligning on the left side. It's aligning in height difference, all of that. If I move it somewhere else, you can see the lines are following me. It's telling me this is where it is. I don't want it there. I want it to align properly. So it's telling me that at the bottom, it's aligned with forgotten password. On the side, it's aligned. It just helps. It's so intuitive. So look at how it looks like. Like me, I'm an expert or something. I can't remember the last time I used this balsamic, but it's so intuitive. So awesome. So we have all of that ready. What else do you have on here? On a typical web page, what would you have?
Like a sign up.
Like a what?
Sign up in case you're not able
Okay.
to sign in. Yeah.
Okay. Or in case I'm not able to sign in. So you have
Yes, like
sign up.
register.
Got you. All right. That's a very good one. So what would that look like? Maybe let's see. Do we want another button? Because sign up is usually another button. So maybe we'll put it here. Should we put it here? All right. I don't know what your PO needs. So this is just me. Let's say register, because sign up is very easy. Is very close to sign in. So I don't want us to confuse our people. So again, all these things are your PO's direction, right? I'm just balling it, but normally when you're creating this, your PO will tell you this is where everything should be, right? So you make sure you get all that information from your PO and approve it with them. Okay, let's say I'm not able to sign up because I don't have an account. So this is my register button. This doesn't look equal to me, so I want it to be equal. So as you can see what it's doing again. I want it to be equal between password and sign up. So it's now telling me that this is the equal place. See the line from the top to the bottom, to the sides, all of that. So I don't have to eyeball it. I can just use those grids and it will tell me the distance. So that way I'm happy with how everything goes. All right. And what else do I need on a sign up page? Anybody? How do I know what to do if I'm a user? Remember, you're writing from a user's perspective. So if a user comes onto this page, how do they know what page they're on?
Let's say we need the website's name.
The
Thank
landing
you.
page, yeah?
Yeah, so we need yes, we have a landing page. That's another page. But for here, this is the website name, but not just a website name. This is the website login page. So you're very correct. So we're on the login page of the dress. We're not on the home page. We're on the login page, right? So let's put login there. So now we're on the login page, but how does the user know exactly where they're on, apart from the web link?
I think we could specify on the page header.
What are we specifying?
On the page header. Okay.
On the page header. So you want a header here, right?
Or something, yeah.
Okay, so let's say we have a header here. Let's put this here. So on the header, let's believe that they've told you what the header should have. Is this the one I want? I may not want this. No, this doesn't look like a header. Let me see if I can get a header from here. Nope. Sub header. Nope. What do I want? Let me see if I can find. Oh, it might be this. Oh, yes, this is a good one. All right, cool. Sorry, I don't know the names of all these things, but yeah. So let's say we have for the header, we have home. Then we have
forum.
Forum. Okay, one forum. What else do you want on here?
Gallery.
Gallery. Okay. What else do you want?
Search.
What?
Search or discover. Oh no,
Is
sorry.
search normally a button on the header?
No, it's on its own. Sorry.
There's a search button usually on the side, but it's not really part of the header.
Sorry.
Okay. You know, this is a wedding dress site. So what do you have on wedding dress site?
Like reviews?
The pictures.
Okay. So do we want to sell anything?
Yes, please. I want to sell the bridal train dresses, the bridal
so maybe
shoes.
Okay, let's say dresses,
shoes.
Let's say shoes. All this probably won't be on the header, but let's be whatever. What if we want to this page that we want to create now, which is a login page, shouldn't that be part of the header? So if people want to log in, or do we want to put that login functionality somewhere else?
Yes, maybe the home banner.
Yeah, no, we have home here. We have about. Remember, this is your heading, your header.
Sorry.
So this is your header. So what are the things on the header? Okay, let's say login. Let me put that there. And then there's register here again at the bottom. So for people that have not logged in, all right. So let me put
hello?
We don't really put the things for dresses. Where do we put
contact
products or something?
Products, yes.
Okay.
This should be at the home.
Or consultation.
We can
consultation. Okay.
Or
what else?
Deals.
What if you want to buy things? What's the sale page?
Shop. Maybe just shop.
Shop. I don't know who said that. You're awesome. Shop. That's the word I've been looking for. Want people to buy things. Okay, so normally your PO will give you better examples for your header, but let's just say this is the header we have for now. Let's leave that for now. Okay, so we're on this particular page. Again, how do people know that they are on the right page?
Need to have the name of the so the Laurel's wedding, whatever it needs to be.
Okay, on there as well, right? Okay, let's oops, sorry. So see what happens when you okay, so since I can't do it that way, it will move everything together. Let me select everything one by one, and then I can move this down. It didn't select everything. Okay, you're going to have to do a lot of trial and error for this, but let me zoom out a bit and then expand this a bit. Obviously move things around. So I'll move this back up here. I want them to be together. No, okay, so stop and then move this alone. Okay, I think I still want some more space here. Okay, this is not right. I want more space here. This isn't enough space, I don't think. Okay, let me move this here since it's misbehaving. Okay, I still want it to be at the center. Okay, move this a bit further down. And then move these two together. So I know I'm doing a lot of things without explaining, but hopefully you're seeing what my cursor is doing. If it selects and you don't want it to select, you just tap out of it and then you can come back again and it resets. So this is enough space, I think. Good. So you guys say you want Laurel's, whatever there. So that means you probably want a big title, right? Let's put a big title there and put Laurel's wedding dresses. Okay, oops, sorry. That's not centered. I want to center it. All right. Okay. So my centering thing is if we don't have time for all of that, so please excuse me. Okay, so what is one more thing you think needs to be on this page for the user to know that they're on the right page? Will it have instructions to log in?
Let the login be underlined or something.
There's
When
no
you find
login.
the
Let
login.
me let the login be underlined. What login? Login. You haven't put any login here now.
To
There's no
indicate you're
login.
on.
Oh, to indicate that you're on the right page. Yes, that's something else we can do, but because of time, we won't do that here. But there's another way we can add login here, don't you think? Shouldn't there be a title
And
here that
add
says
it as a second header.
sorry?
You could add it as a second header
Exactly.
underneath the
Yeah,
Laurel's wedding
people
dress.
will know. If you're on a login page, it will tell you now. You people should be helping your users. So you can log in. So this is your login button or login page, right? So there you go. I mean, this is very rough and rudimentary, but we've created a login page in how many minutes? So obviously, okay, and then now let me go a bit more to talk about some more etiquette. So I have finished working on this site and I have taken my time and I have worked on this site. So I want to group everything together because yes, we want consistency. So remember what you do, you highlight everything, you right click, I beg your pardon, the control panels come up. Where is it? Okay, there you go. So I can group it all together. I can scroll down and see your options, align left, align right, play around with it and see what works. So I group it. Once I group it, I can move everything around. Now nothing is coming out. If I want to move anything from here, I have to ungroup it and move it out. Once you see this purple thing here, everything on here is grouped. So I group it, right? So I remember I didn't rename this. So let me rename this and say tutorial Laurel's wedding dresses login page. Remember, you're going to be designing a lot from Laurel's wedding dresses. So just to say Laurel's wedding dress won't be enough. Okay. You can even just say login page, but each wireframe is for a specific user story. So whatever the title of that user story is, it's nice to coordinate it so you know that that's what it is. So we've renamed it now, right? And I can again even come here, right click on it and lock the group. So not only have I grouped it, I've locked the group. If I lock the group, nobody else can make any change here. Now, if you're a BA that comes and sees this, let's say, for example, the PO says, let's say Vivian created this, but Ufoma was asked to go and either replicate it or maybe create a sign-up page. Maybe your sign-up page is very similar. And you've come and you've seen Vivian has done this, right? Rather than do anything to Vivian's wireframe, leave Vivian's wireframe as it is. If you want to build from here, remember, it has to be consistent. So rather than start creating your own header that you now shift it to the left, and meanwhile, remember, it has to be consistent. So if you've gotten approval that the header should be here, the footer should be here, all you need to do is right click on this page and duplicate. And once you duplicate, it will show you another page that is the same thing and is even named the same thing. Let's click on it. It will tell you, go to rename. It named it the same thing and added copy. So, but I don't want it to be a copy. I want it to be another thing. So I'll change it to what I want it to be. Sign up page, sign up, rename. And now I can amend it because I didn't touch Vivian's wireframe, but I wanted to build on what she has done. There's nothing wrong with building on what someone else has done. For me, I would like to try it for practice. But for the project, I will build on what someone else has done because this has been approved. So rather than try and recreate it again, I will just build from it. So maybe I want to keep the header here. Remember, it's grouped. And once it's grouped, everything moves together. You can edit it, but it's grouped. So if, for example, I want to change this to sign up, because now remember, this is a new page. sign up, and I change this, and I change it. So basically, what you need to do is don't disrupt someone else's work. If you know you did not work on the wireframe, leave it alone. You can duplicate that wireframe and continue working on it. There's nothing wrong with building on someone else's wireframe. If it was yours, you build on it anyway. But again, try your hand at it. So you can just put practice there and try your hand at it and just keep trying again. And this canvas is so big, you can create this thing. Like, you can use all this space. There's nothing wrong. Sometimes you just zoom in to see what you're working on, but you can create multiple things on one page. It can just be a practice page, and you can just keep creating different wireframes even on the same canvas. You don't need to keep creating new wireframes, especially if you're practicing. So you're just practicing and all of that. If you want to ungroup, it's the same thing. You right click, you see your ungroup there. Where is it? And then you ungroup whatever. Or have I ungrouped it? Okay. Anyway, so that's how to do that. Then I'll just say one more thing before I'll ask if you guys have any other questions. Okay. So you finish working on your wireframe. It looks good, right? Looks fantastic. You want to add it to your user story. How do you do that, right? So the first thing I need to do first is let me open one of these my Azure DevOps thingamajigs. Workboards. Let's see. Okay. That's not the right one. I will stop sharing so I can open my Microsoft wants me to do what I don't want to do. Oh no. Oh no, please open Microsoft. Oh no. Microsoft, oh. Okay, let's see. I don't want to keep you guys here. It's asking me to log in again, and it's a whole thing. So I'll just quickly show you guys, and then if you need your mentor to help with that, they can. So you want to add your wireframe to your user story, right? You click on edit. Once you click on edit, you copy bitmap to clipboard, right? Once you copy it, it has copied. If you just click on copy, it won't really copy it. So you need to click on that copy bitmap to clipboard. Once you do that, it has copied the wireframe, and then you go onto your Azure DevOps page, go to the bottom of your page and paste. It'll drop it. I don't know if it'll paste on a normal Word document. Let me see if it will. Oh, it did. All right, cool. So let me share my screen again and show you that, because I couldn't open it on the Azure DevOps. He wanted me to sign up, and that takes its own time. So I just wanted to show you, because I copied to bitmap, I'll just do my Control V and it has pasted. So that's basically, once you open your user story, the particular user story that is for login or sign up or whatever it is, just go to where you want to paste it, Control V, or right click and paste, and it'll paste, right? So you have to make sure you use that bitmap, copy to bitmap, and it will copy it for you. Does anyone have any more questions? I know I asked for 20 extra minutes. I'm 2 minutes shy. So if you have any questions, we can use the time we have to answer them. Any questions, guys? No?
Not like that, no, but it's a lot, you know. So we're still trying to like comprehend it. I think the more we use it, the more we kind of get used to it.
No problem at all. Now you see why you need to ask your Scrum Master to make those emails available. Make them available as soon as you do. I'll populate it on. You guys have your own project board. It's empty apart from my tutorial, so you can delete all of that, and then you guys can start working on it. So remember the communal best practice. It helps. You don't want to work hard on something and come back and see someone has changed it. It's not a good feeling. But feel free to practice. You can't break anything. Don't worry. So practice as much as you need to. Like I said, even if a user story isn't assigned to you, or wireframe isn't assigned to you, try your hand at it, because the more you do it, the easier it becomes for you. Practice makes perfect. So try your hand at it. And if you need, watch this video again. If you need any additional guidance, once you have your mentors on board, they can help you. Just ask for some time with them and let them know, okay, I'm struggling with wireframe a bit. Don't just say I'm struggling wireframe a bit, because that's like, you don't want them to do the whole tutorial again. What are you struggling with exactly? And they can help you. And if you're a proactive self-starter, to be honest with you, go online. How can I add a header? How can I add a footer? How can I add a link? How can I, just Google. Google is your friend. Or go to the website and learn more. Go to other videos and learn more about balsamic. Sometimes the content isn't great, so you can even go on to BlueSky on YouTube. There are other balsamic videos there as well. Watch them, because that will help you. And then, so when you ask someone for help, you can tell them, I'm having difficulty with this particular thing, and they can help you with it. Not your PO, your mentor or your trainer, or during your workshop. Just pull it up and then they'll help you with it. So don't worry. It seems like a lot, but thank God for the recording. You can watch it again, and because you haven't used it before, it's like a lot of information. But the more you use it, I want to advise something again. When maybe you're in sprint 2 or 3, watch this again. It'll make more sense, right? Even your other videos, watch them again. Things that went over your head the first time because you didn't really know about it, once you watch it again while you're now in the program, like, oh really, I think that's what they meant. Okay, no problem. So, but always practice. If you don't practice, you won't learn. It always comes with practice. So yeah, thank you very much. If there are no questions for me, I have taken my 20-minute plus one. So you can stop the recording. Vivian, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.